Good afternoon, good morning, whatever it is. Trying a different location today, just trying something different. In the background, by the way, if you look at the top of that hill, that's called Ladyface Mountain, and it's supposed to be a woman laying, you see the top of the woman. So that's right behind me over my head, that way. Not legal advice. Please share. Follow me on Twitter at rawrod999. That's RAHRAW 999. Today we're going to be talking about short reports and remedies. And today's joke coming again from Little Bruce T. And thank you, Little Bruce T, for your joke. So today's joke: if a parsley farmer gets sued, can they garnish his wages? So let's move on. Again, I'm just trying a different setting, just a weekend attempt. So we'll see how it goes. So I wanted to talk about short reports and remedies, because those short reports, those are reports that are made where a company will do a very detailed analysis about a stock and rip it in various ways. And the idea will be that they want to knock the value of the stock down, because often they have a short interest in the stock. And it obviously it happens a lot with biotechs and small companies and companies that really can't afford to raise capital. So the current most famous purveyor of short reports is called Hindenburg. And I was thinking about this. That's a really psychological name, and if you weren't as old as I am, if you're new, you hear the name Hindenburg and it may not mean anything to you. But there is a subliminal message about that. So to those of you who don't know, the Hindenburg was this Zeppelin, like a blimp, that Germany created as a passenger vehicle. And I think it started in 1936, and it went around the world. It came to the United States in 1937, so it had been in operation for 1 year. It had some kind of docking accident in, I think, Manchester, New Hampshire in 1937, and I think about 35 people were killed in the accident, and the blimp was destroyed. So that became kind of the name for a disaster, the Hindenburg. So the fact that the short report is named the Hindenburg is not coincidence. It's a subliminal message, to me at least. I know it, and now you know it, and that's what it's intended to communicate. So a lot of these short reports are put out with the intention of damaging the stocks. So a couple examples. So I followed at one point in time a stock called Cassava Sciences, ticker symbol SAVA, S-A-V-A, and it was an Alzheimer's, and still is, I guess, an Alzheimer's drug. It had a novel way of approaching it. It was in trials, and during trials, a short report came out that completely tanked the stock and impeached the credibility of the studies that had been done, including how the calculations had been done. So it tanked the stock. It became clear at some point in time that the short report was intended to harm the stock and without merit. Eventually, I think the person who was charged with potentially engaging in fraud was cleared, and so the report in effect was cleared, but the damage to the stock remained. And this is a biotech. It may have a cure, theoretically, it could have a cure to Alzheimer's disease. And now its ability to raise capital and its ability to do its work has been diminished. And we all suffer. We all suffer because of that. So I find that ridiculous. Tesla faced the same thing and does now. So for example, there's a gentleman by the name of Dan O'Dowd who has a competing software for full self-driving, and he puts out what in my opinion, is untrue matter. And and misleading. And for example, he put out some commercial about FSD and how he suggested it could kill children. It was purely inflammatory and not supported by the facts, but it's designed to harm the stock and to harm the company. And for Tesla, before it made a profit, it was attacked by shorts constantly. I'm sure a lot of them are counterfeit shorts, as the MMTLP crowd knows about. So besides the company and humanity, who suffers in all this? You know, we don't get cures, we don't get all kinds of things that we deserve because bigger interests may be at risk. But retail shareholders take it in the shorts. We're the ones who often have positions in those companies, and we don't have the financial wherewithal, the flexibility to take advantage of those situations where somebody puts out a short report, it tanks the stock, and we can go in and triple up our positions with all our extra cash. We're not in those positions, so we don't have the maneuverability that perhaps institutional investors can and have to take advantage. So what can we do? I think like the first thing that's obvious is when these short reports come out, because this is the moment of truth. If there's a real significant short report that comes out against a company and it's untrue and it causes harm to the company and to shareholders, the company has to immediately sue the purveyor of the false information. That's the only way to salvage the stock price. If in fact the information is false and harmful, the only way to protect shareholders is to be super aggressive and to act right away. Because if that's done, then people believe that what is being claimed is false. If no aggressive reply comes out, and I think it's got to be litigation if it's false, and to me, it doesn't make a difference what the outcome is. It's just got to be, if it's false, you got to go after them, and you got to make that statement early on. And if you don't, I think if the information asserted in a short report is true, then the company's got to come clean. So it's one or the other. Either if it's material and it harms the company and shareholders, the shareholders should demand that the company go after the purveyors of the falsehoods. And the idea is if you sue these guys who are making false claims and they have to incur significant legal expense besides the threat of losing, they're just going to stop. It may not be all of them, but it's going to reduce the number of bogus claims for sure. And if there's legitimate claims, we all should know about it. So companies need to do it on their own, and if they don't do it, then shareholders have to demand it and do it publicly, because that's the only way we as shareholders can be protected. And secondarily, I think, and I've seen this through MMTLP, there need to be retail advocacy groups that come together with law firms that will do it on a contingency so that there's no cost involved to shareholders to directly pursue these purveyors of falsehoods directly. So if somebody's putting out false claims and you're a shareholder, there should be alliances set up where there's litigation that can be instituted on behalf of shareholders directly. That wouldn't require necessarily a shareholders derivative action or a class action. But independently, there should also be alliances where, if necessary, shareholders' class actions should be pursued. Not my first choice, of course, but as a backup, just to deal with these particular incidents. So when there's these false claims and harms, if nobody else is going to pursue them, somebody's got to. And if that's a class action, if that's the last choice, and nobody else would be pursuing it, okay, but I would prefer direct individual actions. And in the perfect world, I would prefer if the company pursues it and individuals pursue it. And if it's just the largest shareholders who have the most at stake, then let it be them, because the outcome of their individual action may control and help all individual shareholders. So again, my perfect world, the company and direct shareholder action. So I don't believe defendants are going to cave, by the way. So all this action needs to be continued. And even when we see good results, and with regard to MMTLP, for example, it appears that there's forward motion in that regard. Even when there's good results, that's when we have to push our foot to the metal, because these people will not stop until they're stopped. A lot of them probably won't stop till they're put out of business, to be honest. They'll have made whatever they will have made. They'll put it whatever they can offshore. And if their companies are put out of business, then so be it. They'll go on and they'll find some other endeavor that will probably also be wrought with fraud. So like everything else, this is going to be difficult and long term, but retail traders can't put their guard down and must aggressively pursue this for a fairer system. It's not going to be handed to us, but we're making progress. You all can see it. Look at MMTLP. We're making progress. So keep it up. Be well. Take care. Have a great Sunday. I hope you enjoyed the view, and talk to you soon.